Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, Patriots. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Chaida. I'm a Black conservative commentator and writer, and this is my podcast where I discuss relevant issues surrounding people, society, culture, and politics. All right, so happy that you're here with me today, and let's get into it, shall we? I want to start off with a scripture that I found in John 14, and it says here in verse 27, it says, I am leaving you with a gift, peace of mind and heart. And the peace I give is a gift that the world cannot give. So don't be troubled or afraid. Here in Virginia, we are going through an election seasons. Every congressional district is up for an election, and then we have one man who is running for Senate for the Republican Party. Each this past month, we just surpassed primary election where everyone was willing to vote in the Republican primary and vote for a candidate that they believe will be best to fight the incumbent in office. We also have Republican incumbents who are fighting to retain their seats, and we also have newcomers who are running for congressional office against Democratic incumbents. And one that I am particularly fighting for is Edwin Rivera. Rivera, forgive me. Oh my gosh, forgive me. Edwin Rivera. And he is he's such a man of the people. Like he has a way of connecting with people, and I will share his link to his campaign website, and so that you guys can get to learn a little bit more about him. But there is another candidate, another Republican nominee who's running for Senate against the disgraced Senator Mark Warner, and his name is Bert Mizusawa. And I'm going to share a picture right here and probably share his full name so you guys can get the information. I've been practicing so much on how to pronounce his name. And I'm just going to, for the sake of this video and for the sake of my dignity, I'm just going to refer to him as Bert. All right. So Bert, he is a veteran, and he's a man who has he's the Republican nominee who is running against Senator Mark Warner. Mark Warner is currently seeking a fourth term and claims it will be his final term if he wins this election. But I remember there was a time in history back in 96 where this senator claimed that if he won the Senate back in 96, that he will only run for two terms because he believed that it was important that people serve for a period amount of time and then step down and let refresh a fresh new perspective or prospect come into play. If I find that clip, I'll share it here. But I think it's really interesting that Senator Mark Warner, he has all this big money behind him, coming from donors and corporations across the country, especially from Silicon Valley. Where are his interests? Where does his interest align here in Virginia? Is he with the bigger political machine, or is he with us, the Virginians, the perfect strangers of the Commonwealth? And I want to share in this video, I want to be sharing how is Is should Virginians really be giving Bert, I mean, no, not Bert, Mark Warner another shot in office? During his time in office, has Virginia become more affordable? Are federal agencies hold more accountable? Is the national debt moving in the right direction? Are families better off now than they were 10 to 15 years ago, or whenever Mark Warner stepped into office, the Senate office particularly? And I want to share a few fake Facebook posts that were posted by the Democratic Party of Virginia. And it says here, I'm going to share some images, and it says here, who is Bert MAGA Mizusawa? Bert set himself apart as the Republican field's most devoted Trump booster, aligning himself with a president holding a negative 27% net approval rating in Virginia. Bert brags about Trump's foreign policy and claims skyrocketing gas prices are just a small price to pay for Trump's war of choice with Iran. Bert strongly supports the use of the tax dollar for President Trump's gold plated ballroom. Bert called for a third presidential term for Donald Trump. Okay, let's break this down. I love how they did the same thing last year when Winsome Earl Sears, the former lieutenant governor for Virginia, ran for office. They painted her as this like MAGA spokesperson, as someone who was this MAGA right Republican, even though she came out against Trump, which really was the downfall of her campaign, because then in turn, President Trump didn't support her, thus leading to many very Republican Virginians not going out to vote for her. And I love how the Democratic Party always paint, MAGA Republicans as this like boogeyman, as if like we don't as if like we are the like evil boogeyman monster of America. And as someone who's a MAGA Republican myself, if I was running for office, I wouldn't shy away about my support from Trump either. But let's break down some of the posts that they made him. President, he is painted as Republicans feel most devoted Trump booster, aligning himself with a president holding a negative 20% net approval rating in Virginia. Let's look that up real soon. What is Trump approval rating here in Virginia? Okay, so it says here, according to different sources, President Donald Trump holds a 38 approval rating and a 59 disapproval rating here in Virginia. So I'm not really sure where they are getting this negative 27%, but you know who has a very high disapproval rating here currently in Virginia? Governor Abigail Spanberger herself. Right now, she is sitting right now. She is sitting at a 43% approval favorable rating right now with Virginians. Actually, it's kind of split. I take that back. It's 47% with a 46 of disapproval rating. So it's very split down the middle, almost very split down the middle. For a governor who's only been in office for a shy of over 6 months, I want to say 8 months, 9 months. I didn't. She was in office in January. She was sworn into office in January. It's now August, and so it is within the under just a year of her occupying office. She has almost more Virginians who disapprove of her leadership than approve of her leadership. And I think this is very telling of who she is as a leader. See, you should have listened to us back in November and so on and so forth when we told you guys that Abigail Spanberger was not going to be the Trojan horse moderate that she painted herself to be. But that's neither here or there. And then let's move on to the next post. Trump's foreign policy. Bert brags about Trump's foreign policy and claims skyrocketing gas prices are just a small price for Trump's war of choice with Iran. And I think this is very rich, coming from the party that say that literally echoes that the price of gas prices. Like, this is the same party that talks about how they will rather pay high gas prices if it means they will not want to lose their freedom, constitutional rights, as if that was going to be a factor into gas pricing, which is really tone deaf in itself, because most the average working American can't afford $5, $6 gas prices, and yet here you have people professing how if in order to keep my freedoms, I'd rather pay $5 to $6 per gas price. And I don't know about you, but I really don't believe it really comes down more to the states on how it really comes down more to the states and how gas prices are managed. I really do believe that the conflict with Iran has little to do with it does have a significant impact on the gas prices here, since a lot of our oil comes from or overseas. Our a lot of our materials come from overseas, like gases and like oil and stuff. But you really got to look down to state politics and what's going on. And right now, we just had a run mill of like legislation that were passed that was going to impact the cost of everyday living. So, next post. Mizusawa strongly supports the use of tax dollars for President Trump's gold-plated ballroom. Okay, so back when President Trump, this was maybe back during the government shutdown, February or something like that. A lot of people were upset because President Trump was remodeling the ballroom, which, by the way, this post is a lie, because not a single dollar of the American taxpayer money was spent on the ballroom. It all came out of President Trump's pockets as well as donors. Not a single penny of the American taxpayers' money went to the reconstruction of that ballroom. So there's a lie right there. Mizusawa called for a third presidential term for Donald Trump. Ooh, the shocker. You know what? I would vote for Trump a third time. If he can run for president, I mean, technically ran for president 3 times, but if he can run a fourth time and get a third time, I would vote for him too. So this idea that the Democrats doing with trying to scare voters into thinking that President Trump is this evil right winger and that anybody who support him as the boogeyman is just so cliche and just so unoriginal. You can tell just based on this post alone that they cannot come up with anything creative. They really can't, because if they could, like, instead of focusing on why Mark Warner will be the best man to run for office, even though he's been in office longer than I've been alive, you could tell that they're really out of their depth here when it comes to reasons why Mark Warner should be given a chance. And should he be given a chance? I'm gonna close my laptop. Virginia, you'll have a choice in November. You have a choice to make at the polls this upcoming November for the general election. Do not choose another disgraced politician who has his pockets lined up with interests elsewhere and has no intention in improving the lives of Virginians here in the Commonwealth. You have a man who's a veteran, who has a background in national security, who literally had to pull himself by his own bootstraps, and he is. Would you have a choice to keep the status quo or try for new kind of leadership? And I do believe that it is in your best interest that you go with somebody who hasn't sandbagged the Commonwealth for decades now. So, if anything in this episode has really resonated with you, let me know in the comment section. Give this episode a like. Please hit that subscribe button and let me know on more topics that you like for me to talk about. Like the episode, leave a comment. Thank you so much for listening. I know this was a little longer episode, but I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Love you, Patriots. Love and light.
Thank you for tuning in to This Is Her America. We're here to have the conversations others are afraid to touch. If today's episode challenged you, encouraged you, or gave you a new perspective, do not keep it to yourself. Share it, subscribe, and join the conversation. Follow the podcast on YouTube and all major platforms and stay connected, because this isn't just commentary. This is conviction. Until next time, stay rooted in truth, be bold in faith, and unafraid to stay. This is her time. This is her America. From yours truly.